Hey, Apple!
Howdy everybody and welcome back to the Willie St. Willie channel once again. And yes, I'm back! Sort of. I just had the time to make a video. And I figured I would choose a very fun and relevant topic today that is in no way divisive and has such little controversy among their fan base that there is no way this could possibly go wrong. And that topic today is Star Wars. Yes, everyone, today we're talking about Star Wars, and it's probably one of the most popular sci-fi franchises of all time. If you don't know what Star Wars is or know nothing about it, then I would like to know the address for the cave you've been living in the past like 50 years, so yeah, I can't help you. Star Wars has been a massive franchise ever since the 1970s and still continues on to this day, although with some mixed reception among its audience. Yes, guys, whether you're a fan of the original trilogy, the prequels, or somehow even the new trilogy, it's no secret that the fan base is very mixed on their opinions on Star Wars as of today. Yes, guys, I myself am a Star Wars fan. I have been ever since I was a little wee lad, a sprout, if you will. And my favorite Star Wars movie is Return of the Jedi, probably always will be Return of the Jedi. And it's no secret that a lot of the most recent Star Wars content has not been received very well by many Star Wars fans. With shows like The Acolyte or The Book of Boba Fett, or even like the entire new trilogy being basically demolished by people online over and over again. So I won't get into all that. With Disney's critical missteps on how they've handled the franchise as a whole, I really think that a bit of risk needs to be taken. A revamp, a dive into a new genre, if you will. That's right, everyone, I'm talking about Star Wars horror. Yes, guys, there's a lot of deep, dark, evil things lurking in a galaxy far, far away. Now, guys, if you're only familiar with the mainstream content of Star Wars, such as the Clone Wars TV show or the movies, then you're probably unaware of just how vast and expansive the Star Wars lore can actually be. It's pretty insane, actually. And no, guys, I'm not just talking about the games like Star Wars The Old Republic. I mean, that kind of counts too. But I'm talking about the pre-Disney days. See, guys, before Disney acquired Star Wars, many writers took the opportunity to kind of hop onto the Wild West of the Star Wars mythos and add a long series of books, audiobooks, and comics to the Star Wars expanded universe. Now, before all of these comics and books were kind of floating out in the open, just waiting for anyone to latch onto and take ideas from and put into movie form, it was kind of in a weird limbo state of whether or not it's considered, you know, legitimately in the same Star Wars universe or just like a side thing. It was really weird. But once Disney came in, they basically just put on their captain's hat and said, "Look at me, I am the captain now. None of this is canon. I will decide what is canon."
Oh, you underestimate my power.
Yeah, the mouse basically said that none of the comics and all that are canon unless we say so. So yeah, guys, once that happened, Star Wars basically was broken up into the canon universe, which is like the movies and the TV shows that we're all familiar with and some of the games. And then also Star Wars Legends, which is basically everything else. And let me tell you guys, Star Wars Legends can get a little wacky. See, Star Wars is frankly kind of terrifying. Now, you might be familiar with some recent Star Wars horror that got a little popular, like the Death Troopers indie game with the zombie stormtroopers that's based off Legends, or maybe even in Battlefront with like the Ewok hunt. Dude, Ewoks are kind of creepy, man. They eat people. Oh, I'm serious. Look it up. They eat people. Or maybe even those like creepy TikTok slideshows that pop up in my For You page in the middle of the night. Like the ones that have the Starweird in it with like the "Hey Apple, what?" like the Amazing Grace audio, or like the weird whistling one, like the I can't really do it. But yeah, those creep me out, man. Basically today I just want to highlight a few of my favorite horror characters or elements in Star Wars that I think would make really cool features in like TV shows or movies, and I think would really revitalize Star Wars and make people actually like take it seriously again, because I'm telling you, it's not too late. It's not too late, please. Please, God. Disney, please, it's not too late. And the first one I'm talking about today is probably the most popular one as of late, and that would be the Starweirds. Yes, the Starweirds are very tall, gaunt, and decaying looking zombie creatures that made their first appearance, I believe, in Ultimate Adversaries in 2004, and were even mentioned in, I believe, Star Wars The Old Republic. I believe they were like mentioned like a codex in the game or something like that. But yeah, Starweirds are basically the stuff of nightmares. They float through the deep vacuum of space and happen upon people repairing their ships that have been broken down, or they will hop onto people's ships while they travel through hyperspace. Starweirds are basically floating space vampire demons. Like, they will hide away on your ship and they will slowly pick the crew off one by one, and they have very powerful force telepathic abilities. Like, they can use force lightning, you know, life drain, and they really like hunting down Jedi. They are attracted to force sensitives in the Star Wars universe, particularly light side users, because they hate them, and they will drain them of their life force and will kill them basically. And they're very creepy. Like, basically, if you were to look at one, they would have like a telepathic banshee screech that would freeze you in your tracks, and as they slowly approach you and drain you of your life force. And well, what's funny is that no one actually knows fully what the Starweirds are supposed to look like, at least most people like within the Star Wars universe, because if you were to actually look upon one, you only see your own decaying face. So you're not supposed to actually fully know what they look like in the face. So yeah, kind of creepy. Now, Starweirds are very rare in the Star Wars universe, and their exact origins aren't entirely known. There's a few theories been thrown around, but it has been theorized that they are basically like creations completely made of the dark side of the Force, and that they're even inadvertently created by Abeloth, which is another entry we'll talk about in a second. Yeah, so Starweirds are very elusive, like cryptid-like creatures in the Star Wars universe, and they're very powerful and hard to take down. So if you're gonna be traveling through, you know, deep space and happen to have one of these crawl aboard your ship, you might as well just, you know, say your prayers now, because you're probably not going to get off that ship. You're dead. But just imagine how creepy that would be if they actually introduce a Starweird into like a live action show. That would be horrifying. Horrifying. The next entry is the Bringer of Chaos, Abeloth. She's depicted as having golden hair, glowing kind of white eyes, and large gaping jagged teeth and maw, and like tentacle hands basically, which I bet she does some awful things with those. Now, Abeloth is actually a popular character to reference within the Star Wars universe, as she's basically like a Star Wars boogeyman. Like, she's a powerful dark side user that was once a mortal woman, basically. She served the Father, the Son, and the Daughter, which are like, you know, the living beings, like embodiments of the Force. Basically, they're basically like gods, and she was a mortal woman that served them hundreds of thousands of years ago, you know, BBY, until she basically drank from like the font of power and the well of knowledge, I believe I'm saying that right. And she basically gained godlike abilities while also turning her into like a twisted, deformed monster. And obviously the Son, the Daughter, and the Father were very horrified by her at that point, so they basically trapped her on a planet and just abandoned her and left her there, and she slowly was like corrupting and rotting and withering away the planet and growing more powerful. And she periodically escapes from her like captivity whenever the Force becomes out of balance and just wreaks havoc across the galaxy. And currently, with as far as we know in the Star Wars canon, because she's still technically Legends as of right now, she's still technically Legends, she is trapped in the Maw, which basically a series of black holes contain her in this area of the galaxy where she can't leave. And yeah, she is kind of OP. Like, basically is the way I need to put it. She's basically like another Star Wars demon almost. And will she become canon? Maybe. She might be like a pretty good villain. I think she would have been make a cooler villain than like, say, the Emperor again in the newer movies. That would have been kind of cool to see like someone like Abeloth become, you know, canonized. Because the Starweirds, I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but the Starweirds are actually now canon. They have been basically made canon. But Abeloth, as far as I know, is still technically considered just Legends, so she's not canon. But honestly, maybe it's better for the entire Star Wars universe that she isn't canon, because she is the stuff of nightmares. Like, she can basically telepathically influence people from like across different planets and stuff. She is insane. Like I can go on and on about how creepy she is. I mean, you've probably seen many artist renditions and depictions of her. Yeah, she's not to be trifled with. She is yeah, moving on. Now, if you are familiar with the father, the daughter, and the son, then you probably know them from the Clone Wars TV show. And you know how I mentioned previously that Abeloth is able to escape her imprisonment periodically? Well, when big events happen, such as, you know, the father, the son, and the daughter dying, or any big major shifts in the Force, that causes her to be able to escape. And previously, when she had escaped, the father, the son, and the daughter would work together to put her back in a prison, basically. With them being dead now, like they're gone, if Abeloth is real in the Star Wars universe, like she's canon, then, well, there's not gonna be much of a universe left after she's done with it. So, dude, I don't know how they're gonna approach that, but yeah, let's just say, like, in Legends, Luke Skywalker had to team up with other Sith to like help him stop her, so I don't know how they're gonna go about that if that does happen. So sleep well tonight, all you Star Wars fans, because Abeloth can probably brutally kill your favorite character at any moment. Who knows? Okay, now for the last intro, I was a little indecisive of what I actually wanted to pick. First, I was going to do the Mngall-Mngall, which are pretty cool, like alien race that lives in the unknown regions of the Star Wars galaxy. And there's a whole arc in Star Wars Legends about like the Mngall-Mngall War, you know, after the fall of the Empire, and you know the Empire remnants and the New Republic had to work together to fight them and beat them. And yeah, that's kind of cool. Or I also consider talking about Darth Nihilus, which is, you know, like a planet-eating Sith Lord who is also a cool character, but they just lacked a creep factor to me that this actual entry I chose has. That's right, I'm talking about the eldritch abomination of the Star Wars universe, the Now. I hope I pronounced that right. Now, the Now is similar to the Starweirds in terms of their origins because the lack thereof, basically. No one is 100% sure where exactly they came from. The most reasonable theory most people go with is that they come from another dimension, basically. They're a weird interdimensional being that just happened to stay in the Star Wars universe. And that theory was proposed by the Chiss within Star Wars, which is, if you don't know, the Chiss is like the race of Grand Admiral Thrawn, like the blue-skinned people with the red eyes. Now, the Now is very ancient within the Star Wars universe and resides in the unknown regions that, you know, barely anyone ever goes to. And basically, the Now is this gray ooze, formless, shape-shifting creature that is able to infect organic, you know, sentient host creatures, and its main goal is to spread as much as possible throughout the galaxy as much as it can and cause suffering and just chaos and torment to everyone it comes across. Now, even though the Now is technically a shapeshifter, it can't form like complex organic figures. Basically, it can't become like a person out of nowhere, basically. But it can probably like blend into the background of like a forest or something like that to hide from you if it wants to. Now, even though the Now is technically one being, it can also break off into multiple pieces and spread around as many times as it wants to, really. And one of its claims to fame is that it can just explode itself into multiple tiny little droplets and enter into the orifices of like living beings and just possess them and eat them from the inside out while slowly digesting them and just killing them, make sure they're alive the whole time that happens. So yeah, the Now is basically just evil. It likes to torment, torture people, and just cause suffering just because it enjoys it. It just really likes doing it. Now, once the Now actually possesses a living organic being, it can basically do complex tasks and do whatever that living being is capable of doing. And it's able to spread very rapidly to other planets and moons and just conquer them. It's almost kind of like a living virus, basically. It wants to spread and cause suffering as much as it possibly can. Now, as mentioned previously, the Now is an ancient being, so many ancient Star Wars beings like Celestials have, you know, came across the Now and have went out of their way to try to contain it, because the Now is kind of like an apocalyptic scenario if it actually escapes and is able to spread willingly. It's basically the end of the galaxy as we know it if that happens. Now, this might be a little bit of projection, but the Now gives me real Lovecraft vibes. It's very Lovecraftian and eldritch. Like, even the name, like, it looks like Mngall-Mngall, but it's pronounced like Now. Like, It basically reminds me of Nyarlathotep from the Lovecraft mythos, like the Cthulhu mythos, if you guys are like aware of that. And they're even similar in features too, like Nyarlathotep is called the Crawling Chaos and is like a shapeshifter, and it's obviously a sentient, like godlike being. And the Now Now is kind of similar in that regard. So yeah, like the writers for this, I can definitely see their inspiration, like where they got that from. And yeah, just reading stories about the Now Now within the Star Wars universe is very creepy and eerie. And I would think it's probably like the most horrifying being in terms of just like its capability and its intentions. Like sure, Starweirds and like Abeloth are very creepy in their own right, but the Now Now is almost like an uncaring force of nature, and it's very difficult to contain. Abeloth is just one being, and Starweirds are very rare and they're few in number, but the Now Now has like limitless possibilities of what you can really do with a story involving it. So it gives you real The Thing vibes. Like I feel like if there was a Star Wars version of The Thing, that would be the story they could create with that. One funny thing I noticed about Now Now when I was reading the Star Wars Wikipedia was that there was a last minute edition made that tied the Now Now to the Project Blackwing that had like the Death Trooper, zombie virus. So I thought that was kind of cool because, at least they kind of like, tied together within the universe. And I'm surprised there's not more mention of the Now Now in like mainstream Star Wars because it's just creepy, man. Like, God. Funny enough, a couple days ago, the YouTuber The Vile Eye made a video analyzing evil, talking about the Now Now, and he goes into way more depth than I did here. But yeah, there is a lot of potential with the Now Now in Star Wars horror that I think should really be capitalized on. So there you have it, everyone. Those are my favorite horror topics in Star Wars that I think should be utilized in the mainstream, and I'm really excited to see if anyone actually is willing to pick up on that and create their own, projects or content with that. I mean, that'd be really interesting. I've seen a few videos floating around involving like the Starweirds or like Death Troopers, and I just think there should be more. I think there should be way more because Star Wars is very creepy. There's a lot of creepy elements that people can really use, and there's just so much that you can do with it. I'm shaking with excitement. And that comes to the point of today's video. Because Disney has the power to make whatever they want to canon, I don't understand why they don't do it more often with popular legend stories. Like literally the formula is all there. The stories are written for them on a silver platter. They will make billions. All they have to do is just grab them and make them real, and fans will be clap like seals and be happy. And me personally, I hate seeing a franchise that I love so much stay stagnant and just play into nostalgia bay, like with the Skywalker family. They can take a risk, they can do something new. Now, do I think Disney will actually go full send and make like a Star Wars horror movie? No, they won't, but a boy can dream, right? And guys, I know I didn't cover every little horror topic about Star Wars, like, why didn't you leave out this? Why didn't you leave out Glub Shadow? Oh, why didn't you talk about Boop Boop Bebop from the Unknown Region or what? No, like, sorry, I just picked my favorites off the top of my head and kind of went with it. But guys, feel free to comment your favorite Star Wars horror. Maybe it'll be something that'll scar us for years to come. Or don't. I mean, you do you, boo. But thank you as always, guys, for sticking around with me to the end. And keep an eye out because I'm planning on making another video soon, so don't miss it. Don't miss it. But just in case I don't see you, stay safe and have a good one. And may the Force be with you. Goodbye.